For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. Archaeologists, Egyptologists visit Bulgaria because of a prophecy by the famous clairvoyant Vanga. An extremely interesting and intriguing piece of news was recently published in the media regarding the visit of prominent Egyptology specialists to the Rhodope region. It is entirely possible that such visits could spark the interest of historians from all over the world and overturn established knowledge about our ancient history. Specifically, the team consisted of Prof. Anna Radoncheva from the Archaeological Institute of the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, the world-renowned archaeoastronomer Robert Bovell, geologist Dr. Robert Schoch, and NASA astrophysicist Thomas Brophy. Despite their brief tour, the scientists visited the archaeological sites of Balintash and Tatol and concluded that the region is rich in artifacts. They did not rule out a connection between Egyptian history and the ancient history of the inhabitants of these lands thousands of years ago. However, such a link also exists in the Stranja Mountains, as Vanga told me in the winter of 1981. That is why I believe this high-profile visit is by no means coincidental, but rather influenced by her prophecy, no matter what anyone else might say. That winter, when my aunt insisted that I write down every word Vanga said, I had no idea that I would later initiate an expedition and experience such incredible events, which are difficult to describe. I first published this story in 1989 in my book Vanga, and I have included it as a separate chapter in all my subsequent books. It has consistently evoked great amazement among both Bulgarian and foreign readers. There have been many publications around the world attempting to explain the phenomenon we witnessed, but I am convinced that the answers are yet to come, especially now that leading world scholars are showing interest in our ancient history. As early as 1979, Vanga used to say that the time of miracles has come, and science will make great discoveries in the field of the immaterial. Many secrets will be unraveled. Many ancient relics will be discovered. I hope this will come true. But to avoid being accused of speaking without proof, I will briefly recall the Stranja expedition for those who may have forgotten it. THEMIRACLEANTSTRANDZTMOUNTAMS excerpt from my book Vanga and the End Times, 2004, Nietzsche Publishing. As is well known, all kinds of people came to see Vanga. Treasure hunters also came, bringing soil from various locations or crumpled maps, asking Vanga to tell them where treasures were buried. She disliked speaking to such people and always dismissed them with indignation, as they wanted to become rich without working for it. In January 1981, an elderly man came to my mother's house in Rhodope, asking her to intercede so he could meet with Vanga. He said he wanted to discuss something important and showed my mother a crumpled sheet of paper on which were drawn some written signs and winding lines, resembling those on a geographical map. My mother immediately guessed he was a treasure hunter seeking to ask Vanga whether the map indicated a hidden treasure and where it was located. She knew well that Vanga did not receive such people. But since the man had come from far away and she didn't want him to leave empty-handed, she suddenly told him that her daughter, meaning me, had studied Turkish philology and could look at the signs to try to decipher them. Like any mother, she overestimated me greatly. My mother called me, and I went outside. The weather was unusually warm and sunny for January, so we sat on the bench in front of Vanga's house. The man repeated his story about taking the map to Sofia, where none of the professors had been able to read the signs. They had even told him it was nonsense, as it did not resemble any known script. Since the professors could not read the map, he had come for Vanga to read it for him. He handed me the paper. On the crumpled sheet were about 10 lines of crudely copied hieroglyphic-like signs. At first glance, they vaguely resembled Arabic script, but among them were also symbols resembling geometric figures. Above the signs were childishly drawn winding lines, which, according to my companion, represented a map. Naturally, neither the signs nor the lines meant anything to me. I felt bored, not only because I failed as a translator, but also because I had never believed in treasure hunting legends. I was wondering how to get out of the conversation when I heard Vanga calling me inside. Like all blind people, she had a keen sense of hearing and had overheard our conversation. I helped her get dressed, and she called the elderly man in. I won't retell his story, but Vanga told him that the map was unreliable, as it had been recopied many times over many years and bore almost no resemblance to the original. She also told him there were no indications of any treasures in the signs or lines, and that he had come all this way for nothing. She then suggested that he go bathe in the mineral water and then leave, asking him to leave the map with her while he bathed. The man left. When we were alone, Vanga told me to find a sheet of transparent paper and copy the map. I thought it was a bit improper, but she explained, "Treasure hunters are suspicious people, and this man will never let you copy the sheet, even though it will be of no use to him. Nor will it be of use to you. But this map is a sign for us to talk about something serious, something connected with you." I copied the signs onto a transparent sheet from a box of chocolates and went with my mother to Petrich for shopping. I soon forgot about the meeting. That afternoon, when we returned, Vanga asked what I thought of the treasure hunting map. I told her it was nonsense, not worth discussing. She listened silently, then said, "No, it is not nonsense! This is something huge, too big for that man, and even for you. These signs and this map were copied many times over several generations, and no one can read them. This is not about a hidden treasure, but about a script unknown to the world. It is inscribed on the inside of a stone coffin made of black granite, buried deep in the ground thousands of years ago. Even if they find this sarcophagus, they will not be able to read the script. But it is very important because it contains the history of the world, thousands of years before our time and thousands of years after it. This sarcophagus was hidden on our land by people who came by water from Egypt. They traveled with camels, accompanied by slaves, soldiers, and high-ranking officials. One night, in complete darkness and silence, the coffin was lowered deep into the ground and covered with a massive amount of soil. All those who took part in the work were killed on the spot. Thus the secret was sealed with streams of innocent blood to await the time when it would be found, brought to light, and deciphered. This is a millennia-old message of priceless value. I listened in astonishment, unable to believe my ears. Could such a thing exist? An unknown script addressed to people thousands of years in the future. I had no reason to doubt Vanga before, but this surpassed the wildest fantasies. The story then goes on to describe how, following Vanga's instructions, the narrator led an expedition to the Strancha Mountains on May 5, witnessed strange solar and lunar light phenomena on a rock with carved solar circles, and ultimately saw two large, lifelike figures appear illuminated on the rock, one resembling a biblical elder like Moses, holding a round object, and the other a young Egyptian pharaoh seated on a light wooden throne. The apparition lasted about 20 minutes before disappearing. Later expeditions found nothing, and the site was eventually destroyed by treasure hunters after media sensationalism distorted the facts, claiming tombs of goddess Bastet, alien scepters, cosmic map, and other fantasies that the narrator firmly denies. The only tangible artifact ever found during the dig was a small wooden wheel, origin unknown. Years later, in 2010, Dr. Vasil Dobrev, a Bulgarian and world-renowned French Egyptologist, examined a small Egyptian scarab found decades earlier in a Thracian burial mound near the village of Liobcha, Smolian region, made of greenish steatite and just 13 mm in size. The scarab bore an inscription in Egyptian hieroglyphs reading Neb Toi Re. The Lord of the Two Lands is Re. Dr. Dobrev identified this as the throne name of Pharaoh Mentuhotep IV, the last ruler of Egypt's 11th dynasty. What the scarab was doing here remains unknown, but the narrator sees this as yet another confirmation that Vanga's prophecy, spoken 35 years earlier, that science would uncover ancient connections between Egypt and Bulgarian lands, was coming true.